Hi there, I am Josh Korngut from Dread Central. And welcome to Dread Central, Scott Derrickson. How's it going today?
It's going great.
Congratulations on the Black Phone. How does it feel on it finally um, coming out and audiences finally getting to see it?
Oh, it feels great. The it's played in a couple festivals, and I've seen it with some test audiences, and everybody seems to really enjoy it. So seeing it go out into the world is always, if you feel like your film is good, that's always a great feeling.
There are so many Joe Hill stories in this world to choose from. So why the Black Phone?
I thought the Black Phone was his most interesting idea for a movie because it combined a serial killer story with a ghost story, and I'd never seen anybody do that before. And it did it all within a basement, And also, I think the cinematic quality of just the phone itself being the conduit to the other side, I thought that was really simple and brilliant. And I think Joe wrote a story that was really empathetic and had real love for its characters. And even though it was so short and needed a lot of expansion, I just felt like every component of it felt like a movie to me.
Are you a fan of his other works?
Oh yeah, I know Joe personally. I love his writing. I think Joe's an astonishingly good horror writer, and I think that he writes from a point of view of love, and he takes the darkest things possible and then writes with so much empathy for characters, and just does extraordinary work. Yeah, he's a super talented writer.
If you had carte blanche to adapt another one of his stories, what would it be?
I've talked to him about it too, and it's a tough nut to crack in terms of getting it made. But probably my other favorite of his is another short story. Well, Best New Horror is the first short story in the book 20th Century Ghosts, now called The Black Phone, his first anthology. And my production company has optioned that, and Michael Kennedy, who wrote Freaky, is writing that story. For me, there's a story called, he has a book of 4 short stories called Strange Weather. I believe that's the title of the book. And there's a short story in there called Rain. That's probably my other favorite thing that he's written. I would love to turn that into a movie.
That would be brutal. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I really love that story. I think about that story a lot, actually.
I do too. I actually think it gave me a mild phobia of rain after reading it. So
yeah, that's not surprising.
It's really brutal. How did you know Ethan Hawke was going to be the right pick for this role?
I wrote it first. I didn't write it for him. I don't think about the characters that will play the things I write, because then if they say no, it's kind of hard to get them out of your head. But after I finished it, I thought he could do a great job, and I wasn't sure if he would do it. He told me he didn't really play villains, so he didn't think he would do it either, but when he read it, he loved it, and agreed to do it. And I just think Ethan, first of all, has such a unique voice. Literally, his voice doesn't sound like anyone else's voice, but I just think Ethan's one of the best actors in the world, and I knew that if he took on the challenge of playing such a villainous role from behind a mask, that he would do something remarkable. Which he did, and he came prepared. He came with a real understanding of that character, and gave me a performance that I think is pretty iconic, really.
Definitely, and he was also iconic and sinister. I'm not sure if you know, but there has been some scientific studies that proved Sinister is one of the scariest movies of all time.
Oh, it proved that it's the scariest.
Actually, it's been dethroned by Host, unfortunately.
Oh, let's do another test.
Yeah,
I want to recount.
Why do you think science had that to say?
I mean, the pulse racing quality of the movie. I think that I really loved Host, by the way. I watched Host, and then I watched it again with my kids. I was so affected by it. And I got really scared when I was watching Host. That movie is awesome. And I think that those are both movies that really play on a mystery at the core of it. So yes, there's suspenseful sequences. Yes, there's weird shit that happens. There's a lot of stuff that pops out, all the kind of things you think of. There's jump scares, all the things you kind of think of as being a horror film. But at the center is a center of mystery. And so I think if you have a story that's well told and at the center of it is the audience and the characters don't know what's going on, it doesn't make sense. As opposed to an audience that does know what's going on, but people are threatened and it's suspenseful and you're watching it unfold and it's scary how people get killed or whatever. That's a different, it's scarier if the audience doesn't know the mystery behind what's happening. That creates an extra level of anxiety, I think, and hence the test that you're talking about is people's heart rates remained elevated throughout the movie. And I think that's what does it, is the mysterious storytelling.
How did Tom Savini get involved in this film?
You know, Tom was one of 5 people that I picked to send my notes on for what I was looking for in The Mask. And all 5 companies responded with some artwork. Some of it was pretty elaborate artwork. Tom Savini sent me back a sketch on a piece of paper with a pencil that was brilliant. And when I looked at it, I was like, oh, well, there it is. And it's basically what you see behind me right now. You know, it's basically this mask. It's the three masks. He really just had a vision for it and drew it, and we stuck to his first concept.
And the cinematic reference was London After Midnight?
No, you're the second person to bring that up. The only reference was for the Smile mask, which was The Man Who Laughs.
What's that?
The Man Who Laughs is an old black and white film, and the guy's got a smile. If you Google it, you'll see the character smile. It actually kind of, I think it inspired maybe the Joker. I'm not sure in the comics, but I love that guy's expression and the eeriness of his smile. The frown I had no notes on. I didn't know how to do that. That's all Tom, you know. And the mouthless face is just mouthless. So, but he really brought it on The Mask.
I'm always wondering, was there a specific horror movie that really traumatized you growing up?
You know, the movies that the traumatic experiences I had with movies were first with trailers. I was a really little kid when I saw the trailer for both The Exorcist and The Omen. And both of those really wigged me out because both of those involved children. You know, they were both about kids my age, like little kids, in these horribly weird, inexplicably mysterious paranormal experiences. The Omen even worse than The Exorcist. Those were very traumatizing. And then as far as a full film, I mean, I would have been 11 when I saw Jaws, and Jaws really traumatized me. I was really in bad shape for a day or two after seeing that movie. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. And then I ended up going back and seeing it again. But I sort of needed a 2-day window to like be freaked out by it because it was so impacting.
The way that she says ouch when she's dying in that opening scene really disturbs me. I don't know why. It's so simple.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that opening scene really, you know, I remember Spielberg saying, I read that Spielberg said to his crew, I want the audience to crawl under the chairs during this scene in the theater. Which
You got it right.
You got it right.
What's your
Perfect
relationship?
movie, one of the few perfect movies ever made.
It is a perfect film. What's your relationship with the supernatural? And my last question is, do you believe in ghosts?
I mean, I'll start with the second question. I do believe in ghosts, and I believe in ghosts because of the preponderance of testimonial evidence, you know? I mean, every reasonable person that you will meet in this world either has a ghost story or knows somebody credible who has a ghost story. So for people to just dismiss millions and millions and millions and millions of highly credible people with very specific stories about what they have experienced and just uniformly dismiss all of it as people, you know, believing a lie or playing tricks on themselves is irrational. I think it is far more rational to believe in ghosts because of the preponderance of testimonial evidence than it is to disbelieve in them. I think you have to have a dogma of scientific, you know, materialism that is unfounded in good, reasonable thought in order to dismiss the paranormal. That's my position. I am no strict materialist. I'm quite the opposite. But I also think that most people who are fixated on the paranormal are usually out to lunch and these kind of experiences show up when they want to show up. I don't think they're traceable or repeatable. I don't think that they're subject to the measuring instruments of science. I think that they are mysterious. I think they are connected to the mind in a way that we don't understand, because the mind is something we understand very little about. Those are all. But do I think that ghosts exist? Yeah. Do I think there's an afterlife? Yes, I do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today. This was great.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. Good questions.
Thanks. Have a good day.